Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Marsha Golangco, and I'm the moderator of this amazing segment. It's called Asian American Women Authors Forum. I organized this because I think Asian American women authors have a lot to offer. And right now, there's not that many of us. So please post any questions with this particular session. Ask all kinds of questions. We have some experts that are here with us. So for myself, I'm also an author. I already wrote 3 books. And I'm in the process of continuously writing more books. And I hope that this particular forum will arouse your interest if you have not started your own book. So with us today, we have Vickie Gould, we have Seema Giri, and then we have Reenu, who are writing books or messages or articles from very early on, and they're going to share with us the journey, the challenges, what motivates them, what's next for them. So with that, let's start. And by the way, if the audience have any questions, please feel free to ask the questions on at the chat room. We will be happy to answer most of it. And as we know, this is about 90 minutes, so there's plenty of time. And we will make this very interesting. It's like a conversation, it's not a lecture. So with that, Vickie, why don't you share with us?
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Marsha, for hosting this, asking me and allowing us this area and this forum to have an Asian American women's authors talk, something that we just don't get to do, like you said. And, you know, a lot of times when people introduce me, they might talk about the 10 best-selling books I've written, how I've been featured on entrepreneur.com, HuffPost, and TEDx, and all those things, and the 106 authors that I've helped to get to bestseller. But what a lot of people don't realize, and Marsha, you said this before we started, is that, you know, I'm such an energetic person. I travel a lot, I go a lot of places, and I like to have a smile on my face. But there was a time in my life that that just really wasn't the way it was. There was a time that I seriously thought about committing suicide. And it was during that time that the doctor, I remember this visit I had with my doctor, I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, chronic Lyme disease. And he turned to me and he said, Vickie, this is the way your life is going to be for the rest of your life. Suck it up and just learn to accept it. And I remember thinking, gosh, could this really be true? Is my life going to be 16 to 18 hours in bed every day? Is that all that it's amounted to be? Because I wasn't even 40 years old yet. And I remember going home and telling my sister, calling her and saying, if Lyme disease takes me, you have to tell my kids who I was, what I wanted for them, because those 16, 18 hours in bed, I felt like such a loser wife and a loser mom. I could not go to their school parties. I couldn't go to their sporting events. I felt like I couldn't even finish cooking. And my little guy would come up to me with his chubby little cheeks and he'd go, Mama, can you come to my school party? And I just looked down at him from bed and I'd say, you know what, baby, I'm really sorry, Mama's not up to it. And he would crawl in and I'd watch that hopefulness in his eyes just wash away into sadness. And I remember thinking, is he gonna, you know, grow up to hate me? Is he gonna need counseling? Is he gonna ever know how much it hurt my heart to tell him no? And during those days and those times, I finally got to the point where I was like, I either have to do something about this or I need to be gone. The thing was, I wanted to see them grow up. It wasn't that I wanted to be dead. I just wanted the misery to end. And so I decided that life was worth fighting for. The doctor can't tell me what my life is going to be like. And because there's no set protocol for Lyme disease, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I became a master herbalist. I started trying crazy things that I didn't tell my doctor I did. And then during that time, lo and behold, the good days started to outweigh the bad. And through that journey and through that process, I realized that there are so many other people in the world who have struggles and stories and journeys that can inspire and motivate and help other people. Because when they've seen that you've been where they are and have gotten out of it, they're encouraged as well. And that's why now I have the big blessing and honor of being able to help other people to craft their stories, heal others through their stories, help others through their stories, and to create best-selling authors in the process. And many of my clients are also entrepreneurs, so that also helps them to grow their business. So I'm happy to be here today with everybody to share the experience of writing books and what it's like. And like Marsha said, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. Writing is one of those things where you get to live forever in your words, and you get to hand down a legacy in your book.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Reenu, tell us about your, introduce yourself to our audience and tell us about your story.
Thank you so much, Marsha. I really appreciate, like Vickie was saying, thank you for giving us this opportunity to share our experiences with our friends and family here today. I started off my career as a computer engineer and then moved on to entrepreneurship. We've gone from various real estate to a restaurant and currently IT training businesses. And my husband runs a blockchain enterprise company. And I moved into financial independence for women. I started learning about finances because I realized that there was a need for people, especially women, to understand finances. In my house, my husband took care of all the finances, and I was very happy with that. But when one of our friends, one of his classmates passed away, and their family had to move back to India because she did not know about the finances, that was a big wake-up call for me. I realized that I had to start studying about finances to understand and make sure that my life was in a better situation if something happened to my husband tomorrow. And I started understanding finances, started learning how money works. And when I started talking to a lot of my friends and family, I realized that 90% of the women in the community do not like to handle finances. The men took care of it, and the women were like, they're happy that the husbands were taking care of it. And I realized that there was a need for women to understand the need to learn finances so they could better themselves and make sure that their family were taken care of if something happened to the major breadwinner of the family. And that is what got me into this. And I am very grateful to Seema for giving me the opportunity to start this book. When she came up to me and said, write a book, and I was like, I don't have anything to share. And that's when I realized that, no, she helped me realize that I had a vision and a mission to share to the women that they need to understand that finances is very important. It is not complicated. We do a lot of things. We manage the house, we multitask, we take care of the kids, we cook, we go for work, we do a lot of things. And I feel if us women can at least understand the finances, I think most people will be in better shapes. And that is what got me into writing this book.
Thank you, Reenu. And Reenu, you and Seema are from India. You are an immigrant. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, we are.
And Vickie, you are from originally from Hong Kong?
My parents are from Taiwan.
Oh, from Taiwan.
I'm first generation American.
Yay. So the experience could be different than authors from originate from other countries. So we are going to get into that. And Seema, tell us about yourself and introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, hi, thank you, Marsha. Thank you so much for giving this platform and this opportunity to us. My story is very similar to Vickie's. Today people know me as a holistic lifestyle strategist, #1 international best-selling author, and a speaker. And what they don't know is that this wasn't always the case. About 22 years ago, I was actually bedridden in chronic pain. And I was finally diagnosed with 3 types of autoimmune disease, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, and hypothyroid. And it took 6 long years to finally be diagnosed correctly. And up to that point, 11 doctors had called me a hypochondriac, meaning that it's all in my head, it's not anything real. But a little tiny voice inside of me kept telling me there's something wrong, there's something very real. So I persisted in searching out a doctor who could actually diagnose me correctly. And luckily, it was the very next doctor, the 12th doctor, who finally said, Seema, we believe you, and did a whole other sets of tests that actually gave something. Up to this point, all my tests were coming out normal. So the doctors couldn't understand. But he was innovative, a younger doctor, did something new, and finally diagnosed me correctly and got me onto eventually 25 to 30 medications. But when I had my son, that's when I became bedridden. And at that point, the doctors told me that that's how my life was going to be from now on. And it was to the point where I couldn't even hold my son. I couldn't hold him. I couldn't enjoy the joys of new mothers. So when I looked down at him, I couldn't imagine a life where I'm not able to be part of his life. You know, like Vickie, I was thinking, you know, my whole life went fast forward in front of my eyes of when my son, you know, gets older, gets bigger. And I wondered, will he know me? Will he know that I was his mom? Will he even love me? Would he care for me? Who else would take care of him like I would take care of him? And that just drove me so crazy and kept me up for nights. And I finally decided, I'm not going to accept the diagnosis of what the doctors have told me. Like Vickie, I took matters in my own hand. I tried all kinds of unconventional things. You know, I made changes in my diet and my movement and really worked on my mindset and added spirituality in, and I was able to heal. So it took about 10 years to do that. But I was able to do that where I was fully able to be part of my children's life and went on to have a second one. And like Reenu, I was running a business with my husband, a project management consulting business, and came across a lot of other women entrepreneurs. And I saw that to some degree, everyone is having same kind of issues. Maybe not as severe as mine, but they were dealing with overwhelm and just a lot of overwhelm, a lot of other things that they had to do just became so much. They weren't really enjoying the quality of life and having some form of illness or sickness. And that's what motivated me to start teaching my process that I went through and really help them create a strong wellness foundation. And the more I shared my story of recovery from chronic pain, the more I saw other women became more empowered, particularly in the Asian community, because our lifestyle is so similar, such where we're always putting others' needs first. But I realized that is a global issue. Women all around the world are dealing with the same thing. And then I had the opportunity to write a book, co-author with Dr. John Gray from Men Are From Venus, Women Are From the reverse, men are from Mars, women are from Venus book, and Marcy Shymouth and Raymond Aaron. I saw the impact that it had not only on other people of my story, but it was a profound experience and transformation experience sharing my story in a written form and having an empowering voice that way. So that's why I decided to add that on to help others get their message out that's on their heart and to share their story. Many women think they don't have one, but I'm telling you, Marsha, every single person, if you're alive, you have a story. Thank you.
Yeah, wow, Seema, quite a story. I think all of us being Asian American women, we have a lot to share. I find myself being an immigrant, came to this country originally from Hong Kong, and finished my college and working, and didn't quite enjoy working as a financial analyst in a bank, and then went into real estate marketing. And I guess that's the place where people find, I wouldn't say talent, or not even expertise, but they find out that I have something that I know that they don't know, because they keep on complaining about their, oh, these are difficult clients, and turns out they are mostly Chinese, some Asian. And then I realized that what they don't understand is a concept is called feng shui. So I started to share feng shui principles, how it can be applied in real estate. And before I know it, people start calling me and want to learn more about it. And that started my journey. And it's, I have to confess, it's not because of my passion that I have to write something. It's kind of people demand to learn more, and that was so long ago. So going back to our panelists, and during your journey, are there any challenges that you faced when you start writing? What challenges are you facing? And I would say internal, that you impose on yourself, and obstacles that you start writing. You want to share some of those, and how do you overcome those? Whoever wants to start.
I can go. Marsha, one of the things that I have experienced, and some of my co-authors that have experienced, is when you're writing, you don't feel that your story is worthy enough to share in a written form. You don't realize that the challenges that you yourself have gone through is worth anything. And I used to feel that same way. When I started sharing my story to other women, they said, they kept telling me, Seema, you did such an amazing work. Who does that? Who has that guts and that courage to go beyond everyone? Because at some point, my family was also saying, you know, listen to the doctors. They're the experts. They know better than you. You don't know the human body, right? It's true, I don't know the human body. I wasn't a medical professional at that time, but I do know how it feels to be in my body. And we all have this innate gift of intuition, where you get those messages that you're what is right for you. So we all have that ability to hear, but we don't actually include it or practice it as much. So I also felt, you know, who am I to write a story? Who am I to share mine? How is it going to help others? So that's the first block that one generally needs to overcome, that from my experience. And the second one is, when you're writing, as we are speaking and sharing our truth, it's also being vulnerable. You're sharing a difficult part of your life that you normally wouldn't share with someone else. And then we feel, you know, when people are going to read this, are they going to judge me? Are they going to look at me from another pair of eyes? Because we're always trying to project the best version of ourselves. You know, I'm a professional that helps women feel better and have a transformational experience. If I share something that's not so good, that shows that I was not a perfect person at one point, how are people going to perceive me as? So I think that was the two major blocks that I had, and the two major blocks that my co-authors had, that you need to work through. But everyone's story, Lisa Nichols, she's a transformational teacher, she said that if you have gone through a really rough experience, a really rough life, that it's something that it's not for you to keep, it's something that you need to share with others so others can get that value, that lessons learned, and know that they're not alone.
Mm. And thank you, Seema. And Reenu, do you find that there are obstacles from your background that would be challenging for you? It's like family or people in your life that think that, oh, you shouldn't be writing this, something like that.
Yes, Marsha. If you know the Asian community, finances is something that they don't like to talk about, right? They would like to keep it personal. They don't want to share what assets they have, what if it's good or bad, they don't want to share it. It's very private affair.
Mm-hmm. I think there's Reenu is frozen. How about we wait? Let's have Vickie share her challenges. And Vickie, you have at least 10 books. Different stages, I'm sure you encounter some challenges. And how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I remember my very first book was written on health and wellness and how I got over most of my Lyme disease issues. I still have issues that I maintain, have to do maintenance for, I guess. But I remember thinking, oh my gosh, what if nobody reads this book? And then after that, I was like, oh crap, what if somebody reads this book? It kind of went both ways, where I was scared though that I was going to waste my time. And then the second one was, but if they don't like it, then what's going to happen? And, you know, quite honestly, I got a bad review on that book. That cover changed 3 times. I really don't like it when people ask me about that first book because it's not really the proudest moment. But I did it, you know, and I got a poor review. It kind of stabbed me in the heart, but things like that happen. You know, with my authors that I've helped, what happens with them a lot is they put off writing their book because they think it's going to take a lot of time, or they think it's really complicated, or they think they have to be perfect at grammar. And they have those same thoughts of like, what if it's not good enough, like Seema was saying. And they go through all sorts of things. And really, it's not about time. It's about your priorities. It's about what you want to leave as your legacy and what it's going to do for you. I think too many people are afraid that if I spend the time, and it takes me a lot of time, and it ends up being a waste of time, now what am I going to do? Right? And really, we can't think like that as authors. You know, think of an author that's famous, you know, like, I don't know, James Patterson or something, J.K. Rowling. Do you think she sits around going, oh, I'm not sure somebody's going to read the next book in the series? No, she just writes the next book, right? So sometimes we really get in our own ways that way. And we have to remember that, like Seema said, our journey was created, our story was created to be shared. It wasn't meant to be kept inside us. And that's also how you add more meaning to your life, by using those pieces of your story that will help somebody else.
That's so great, Vickie. And that's when you overcome your first book, things will come easy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like anything else. You do it for the first time, and then you go, oh, well, that's not so bad. Same with my authors. They all say, oh, I've just got this one book, right? And then they go through the process, realize it's not as hard as they made it out to be. And then they look at me and go, oh, I think I got another idea today. I'm going to write another book. So now a lot of my authors have multiple books out as well.
Thank you. So Reenu, I see that you are back and you want to continue the obstacles of you people talking about do not want to talk about money in your community, and why are you writing books about money?
Yeah, sorry, Marsha, my internet just disconnected. So like I was talking, finances is something that is not highly discussed in the Asian communities. especially women. They don't like to talk about it, whether it is pluses, minuses in their businesses. They don't want to talk about finances. So what I've seen, is very difficult to break into something like that and understand what it is to get the finances. And so what I realized is when I talk to people about finances, I needed to let them understand that it was the importance of learning finances and making sure that their family was in a better situation. And it took me some time to break through that barriers. And now women are tending to understand the importance of understanding finances. Are you hearing me, Marsha?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, sorry, because I saw you frozen. So it was very important for me to get into some of these households and let people know, especially when I was writing my book. One of the obstacles I had to overcome was, what would, like Seema said, what would people think if they knew that I had to struggle in my business? And then it was important for me to, okay, that is how it is. That's part of ups and downs in life. And so I had to overcome that obstacle to understand that I am out there giving hope and encouragement to women to understand that, hey, if you understand this, it is not difficult. Finances is just numbers. It is not complicated. We just complicate it. So I wanted women to understand that, hey, it is simple. It can be learned. And if you implement it in your life and understand how money works, we can change your life and your kids and their generations' lives. And so that was what inspired me to start writing this book. And I hope that I can reach into women and make them understand it's very important for them to learn finances, because if their spouse is not there tomorrow, what happens to them? So it's very important to make sure that we all understand that.
Mm-hmm. So it seems like that we really don't need to be an expert in a certain subject when we start writing. I have this similar experience like you, Reenu, that when people ask me about feng shui, and I felt that, oh, I am not a traditional feng shui master, but fortunately, I came from a construction family in Hong Kong. And my late father and uncles, they all know about the phenomenon about feng shui. And I learned it from them. And then in my college, I studied ecology, environmental science, economics, all kinds of subjects that I find it actually they are all part of feng shui, you know, part of the concept that the more I talk about it, the more I share, the more it will come. And yeah, and I have to say that even my family, you know, my mom, my older brother, sister, and they were saying in the beginning, what are you writing about feng shui? You know, yeah, I'm not a traditional feng shui expert, but the more I share, the more people get the essence of it, the more they get benefit. And I feel that it's actually is my, I think it's my contribution to the building industry. Yeah, and then as women, I think all of you experience, women, Asian American women, there aren't many well-known ones. I can think of Amy Tan with the Joy Luck Club, and Helen Sear, who writes a lot of social issues. So do you find there's a difference between men and women, and when you write or when you present your book or your message to audience, does it make a difference? Would you say is advantage or disadvantage being the gender of a woman?
I would say as a woman, it's easier for me to talk about things that are emotional. I think sometimes men, if they do things like that, they're seen, or it might be like just a misconception that they're weak if they show their emotions. So I think in that way, we have an advantage sharing our stories, that we can be a little more emotional. And people don't necessarily think something negative about it. But I also think that Asian women tend to be known as strong, as, you know, I think part of it is that we're brought up with the don't shame the family name, the save face, the, you know, all those things, that we want to appear a certain way. And so through my life, I've had to let go of some of those ideas and concepts, which, like I said, I think is a little easier for a woman than it is for a man. So.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And how about Seema?
Yeah, I agree with Vickie. I think it's for men, it's easier to write about facts and leadership and those kind of things. Um, but I think times are changing and a lot of people are being a lot more open, including a lot of people from the Asian community who are writing more about their journey that can really help versus the other kind of books that have been written prior. So it is a lot easier given the fact that because we are as Asian women, we have to handle so many things, and our background is to, you know, is not share the personal things as much. It still is difficult, and we have to really break through a lot of limiting beliefs. Like Vickie and my parents always told me that you don't share personal things, you don't share negative things, and here we are sharing those very things. But you know, when you cross your comfort zone, that is when you have growth, personal growth and professional growth. And if you keep having a tug in your heart and this voice inside saying you need to share, that is probably your life's path that you need to do. Because writing book, becoming an author and helping others was never part of my master plan that, you know, I hope one day I get to do this. It was never part of it. You know, I was running a business, quite happy with my husband and having a good life in that way. But then there's a knock came on my heart, on my door, saying, you need to do wellness coaching. You need to share your story. And then you need to write a book. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. Then, you know, when you don't listen to the universe, it comes back harder and harder every time. Then it brought the opportunity to write with Dr. John Gray, Marcy Shimoff, and Raymond Aaron. I could not say no to that. So these are how things come in your path. So you should be open to the opportunity and have the courage to take one step forward, and just take one step forward every time and see where that leads you. What about your experience, Marsha? What do you think?
I always think that writing is for me, writing it doesn't come naturally for me. I write informational books. I don't share too much about myself. Probably just, I agree with you, you know, that in my background is a private matter. So, so I rarely share about my personal life, but I'm very good in giving information, giving how to. So my free books in Feng Shui, the Power of Feng Shui trilogy is almost like a how-to book. But I see myself more and more opening my heart that why not share about my own personal life? I think we all have have so many journeys. Things happen in our life that could be impactful. People would learn about it, and they see it that, oh, how do we overcome that? Or people can also see us as a contribution. And for me, it's a continuous journey. It's just like one book is finished, then another book comes up. And I would think all of you agree that there is no stopping once, Vickie was saying, you have so many author clients that when they start the first book and then they keep on writing. So, share, so I would think that it's quite a journey. And once you start writing something that dear to, and then when it become dear to your heart, it just like unfolding. So Reenu, do you think that could be something that's happening to you? You just wrote a chapter on money, and do you see yourself keep on sharing and expressing yourself in a maybe another topic, maybe more in depth about money and women?
So Marsha, I strongly still believe and I'm very passionate about financial independence for women. So my focus is mostly on financial education for women. And because there is so much that we all know what we know, but we also don't know what we don't know. And that is the message I'm trying to get across to my women audience. I need them to understand that it's important for them to understand why they need to learn some of the finance. I'm not asking them to take over the finances that their husbands are doing and run the whole show, because we have umpteen number of things that we deal with on a daily basis. But I'm just saying that just think what happens if your husband does not come back from work tomorrow. Are you able to jump in and do what he does? Are you able to make sure that that income loss that you're having today, are you able to make sure that that is coming from your assets that you have? Are the assets that you have, are they actually assets, or will they become liabilities if your husband does not come back tomorrow from work? And so these are some of the things I want women to start thinking, because we are all comfortable in our daily walks of life. We don't realize that things can happen in life. What happened, I went through that. We were very comfortable. And then my husband started the entrepreneur world. He went down that path and he didn't have time to look at the finances, and I didn't know what to do with the finances. And when the 2008 crash happened, we got hit. We got hit pretty bad. And I was like, oh, that's fine. We lost some money, that's okay, right? But I didn't know the impact of what happens, how when I lost my 401k or half my 401k, I didn't know how long it would take for me to get that back, because I did not understand those numbers. I did not know how money worked. And I did not do my taxes. My husband did all the taxes and I was like, that's fine. But I realized that if something happened to him tomorrow, I couldn't do that. I did not want to be part of a GoFundMe campaign where my friends had to collect money for me because my husband couldn't take care of what he had to do when he was alive. And that is the passion that I'm trying to share, to tell the women. Do not be afraid of, that is what my book is also all about. Do not be afraid of numbers. They're just numbers. Just spend some time to learn about finances. Just understand what is it. What are the different types of tax buckets out there? How can you make sure that we all, like you said, we are all immigrants, right? We all came from India. I was told, I get married, come here, work, get married, get work, and then retire, right? That is the fairy tale story, but that's not how it is, right? You have to go through a lot of ups and downs in life. And most of us have gone through that the tough way, the hard way. And I have to eat a lot of humble pie to realize that that's all part of a learning curve for me. I had to learn some of those things to grow as a person and as an individual. And so I tell women, and I tell my family and my friends, don't make the mistakes we made. The earlier you have, the younger you are, plan ahead in life so that you do have the life that you planned for, or the retirement that you planned you had for, and you can live a successful and happy life. So right now, my focus is still on financial education, because that's a huge message. It is not an easy thing to get through women, because they don't see the big picture. So right now, my focus is still not changed, Marsha. Maybe a couple of years down it might change, but right now I'm still focused on making sure that women understand the importance of it.
Well, perhaps sooner or later we're going to see a book that says Creating Wealth from Reenu.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm counting on that. Seema and Vickie, you are both in book coaching, and you teach people how to start writing books and what is usually the procedure. And Seema is, Vickie, you could go first to go through the procedures and how it happened. And then Seema, you great, you are expert in putting authors together in something called anthology. And we would like to hear something about that after Vickie sharing how it works in book writing.
Sure. So a lot of people get given this bad advice that in order to write a book, all you have to do is wake up every morning and write whatever's on your mind, journal about something, put it on a sticky note, write it wherever, spend 15 minutes here and there. And that's one of my pet peeves, because have you ever had all your random thoughts somehow congeal into something that makes sense? That's not really how it works. So most of my clients, all except 2 who wrote fiction books, are some sort of small business owner, entrepreneur, coach, something to that effect. So the type of books that I write and that I help my clients write are books that are going to help them grow their business. Even the ones that were compilations and anthologies, those stories led people to understand the why behind what that author did and does in their business. So because of that, the way that we write books is a little different than somebody who might be writing a pure memoir or poetry or fiction or things like that. So just to set the tone that my authors write business books, we start with understanding the framework and business of books. So before you write it, you really need to know what you're writing the book for. Now, if somebody wants to write a vanity book, I'm not going to make them wrong for it or anything like that, but that's just not generally what we do. So within that, I have what I call the FAME formula for legendary impact. A lot of people think the book is the product, and the book is not the product. Your products and services are the product. And that's where I talk about if somebody is an author, where like their business is being an author, or they're an author entrepreneur, meaning that they have a business, they want to use the book as leverage, credibility to help open doors to opportunities, get speaking gigs and things like that. If that's the case, then you're an author entrepreneur, where you're an entrepreneur first who happens to have a book, right? Your income is not based on, I need to sell 10,000 copies of this book this month. You know, in fact, if you wanted to make $10,000 on a 99-cent ebook on Amazon at a 35-cent royalty rate, you need to find 25,000 people every single month for the rest of your life, over 25,000 people, in order to hit that income. And it's just too many people. You're better off to create a book that is an entry-level experience. And what I say is the book can't just be a good read. It needs to be an experience, one that somebody doesn't want to end, right? Disney sells tickets, but Disney's app is the Disney experience, right? You experience something with your family and friends, you want to do it over again, you want to tell other people about it, that's what you want in the book. So the reader in the book has an experience that they don't want to end, so then they will self-select, raise their hand and say, I need to get into your programs and services, or I need to be coached by you. And then that is where most of the money is made in writing these types of books. And so the FAME formula for legendary impact talks about number 1, F. So it spells out F-A-M-E. So F is following. You have to grow your following before, during, and after writing your book, so that you have people who are interested in the topic and are there for you to sell it. You don't want to write the book in a vacuum, then go, ta-da, I'm here, and here's my book, and you don't have an audience. You'll have a harder time selling that book. So you want to grow it before and while you're writing it so that you have an audience to buy it. Then the A is the actual authoring of it, creating that book as an experience. Like I said, I have a 5S formula that my clients go through for how to structure the chapters, how to storytell really well, which chapter comes first, and all of that fun stuff, the seeding and marketing to create that reader's desire to buy your program. And then the M is multiplying. So this is where you might have programs and courses that, you know, the book leads into, and you're going to multiply your money, like I talked about, you know, with the royalty comparison. You multiply your money by having those other things that people can get into. You don't want to write a book and not talk about your stuff and prep somebody to buy somebody else's program because they don't understand that you have something else. And then E is elevating, where you're using that bestseller status to get other opportunities, to open doors for stages and interviews and magazine features and podcasts and, you know, all that stuff, where you're using that credibility and expertise boost to elevate your brand, your name, your business. And then once you have this whole formula for your book, then that is how you're actually going to be successful as an entrepreneur writing a book for your business. Oh, we can't hear you, Marsha.
Vickie, that's so informative. I learned so much from you. You are really an expert. Consider how many authors that you already mentor.
Yeah, 106. 106. Just had one on Sunday who was she's a Japanese lady who lives in Russia, and she's the country deputy director for the United Nations World Food Program. And she wrote a book about grandmas, a tribute to grandmas, and she released it on Sunday for Grandparents' Day in the US. So she was 106. So that makes now 14 countries, 4 continents, and 21 states. Not that I'm keeping track.
So for you, being a book coach, a book also you write books and expert in mentoring others. Do you help people write all kinds of books, or are limited to certain topics?
Yeah, they're usually those books, the nonfiction books that are tied to their business, for business growth. So the type of books that I don't do, fiction, even though I do have 2 fiction authors, poetry, memoirs, you know, things like that is not in my wheelhouse. Children's books, I refer out to other people. I used to do compilation books, like the book that Seema has helped others to become bestsellers in as well, but I don't really necessarily do those anymore. You know, and compilation books are really fun because you have a lot of people in them. So I know, Seema, you were going to talk about that. And I actually haven't heard a lot about how that project went for you. I just saw the launch and all of that. So congratulations. I'd love to hear more about that project.
Yeah, Seema, tell us about your anthology. I learned it from you, and I'm one of the chapter writer, author in your next book. So tell us about your second book and then the third book.
Thank you, Marsha and Vickie. Yes, I am focusing on anthology, and the first one, Break Free to Stand in Your Power, was just an amazing experience. Another thing I never thought I would do, but it came in my way. So I went out of my comfort zone and did it. And it was one of the most fun projects I've ever done. Because I think with my project management background too, it has a lot of different components to it, but it came very naturally and easy for me, where I actually enjoyed. And at least 10 of my 17 co-authors had a major transformation, going from, like Reenu was saying, she told me, Seema, you're crazy, talk to someone else because I don't have a story. So helping people, helping women realize that they have a story and it matters. And they were able to go through such transformational experience, although they were already coaches, was just amazing thing to be a part of. And just the trust that all these people had taken on me to help them, guide them through this and have a transformation experience was just very, very humbling. And all the components came together. It's a lot of work, no doubt, but what I like about anthologies is that it is less overwhelming. You know, when I still haven't written my solo book. You know, Vickie is my coach too. She's coached me on storytelling, and we've been together with other programs, and you know, she said, Seema, let's write a book. And I said, no way, not a whole book. What do I have to say? So, you know, although I'm an author and doing this again and again, we still think, you know, do I have enough to say? But I thought in the meantime, as I'm building myself up to a full book, let me help others come with the anthology. So with the anthology, there's a preset, I have a preset topic. Like my second book of Break Free series is Break Free to Peace, Love, and Unity. It's about humanity and compassion. It's something that's very much needed at this time, especially with the pandemic and the racial divide that we are having. I want to infuse the world with a lot of love and care and passion, and show that it's so possible to first love yourself, so then you can spread that love around, and that it's, you know, we can create the kind of world that we want. So that's where I'm taking as my responsibility, what is my role in the world to make that happen. So I'm doing that through this book. So you have a preset title, you write about 1,500 to 2,500 words, which people feel it's doable. So you get that under your belt. And most of my authors are also entrepreneurs, where like Vickie, they have that intention where people can get the experience of working with them and build that know, like, trust factor. But I also have other people who always wanted to write a book. And, you know, writing a full book is not is something that they feel they can do, but they like the title, they feel they can work with the theme, and they want to participate in that too. So mine's a little mixture, but majority are female entrepreneurs. My second title is part of the Break Free series, is Break Free to Health and Vitality. There's so many people like Vickie and I who've overcome some major health issues where we were told that this is not going to be your life. You're going to be sick and tired, and prescribe give us a death certificate early on, and we're slowly dying every day. So we've defied that. And there's so many people like that people need to hear, because right now our world is in a health crisis. So I really want to focus on prevention, and don't take, you know, experts, we're experts in this. So you want to take experts' advice, but you also need to connect to yourself and really know yourself. And that's what I do through my program, Break Free to Brilliance program, where it's a 6-month program where we go through the framework that I use on myself, and you really connect the journey to your true self. And then you get to share your message. My third series is The Art of Leadership, Leading Confidently in Any Season. We have seen such a roller coaster this year. You know, people are going to say, you know, what I saw a post one time on Facebook that says, when people are going to ask you, how's your day? People are going to use this, it's a 2020 kind of a remark, because we've been through everything in 2020. So I've seen a lot of books, leadership books, you know, how to deal with the lead in crisis, how to lead in good times. So I thought, why not create something with everyone's expertise of how to lead in any season, be just confident no matter what is going on. So there's an opportunity for people to choose from any of this. And when you're working with co-authors, especially when you're building your business, these books are really used for business building, right? You have other co-authors who are also marketing. Everyone's marketing the books. It's a way to increase your visibility and your influence in other people's network as well. And I lead this to a best-selling campaign, which my last book became a #1 international bestseller, and I'm going to strive for each one, #1 international bestseller, and I'm going to strive for each one of them to lead to that level. So then you have one book under your belt where it wasn't as overwhelming, and it can lead you to writing your full story in the way that you want to write.
That is so great, Seema. And you know, in this National Civic Leadership Forum, the slogan of this conference is "The Power of We," and with 4 themes, which is diversity, compassionate, empowerment, and then the future. I can really see a book with co-authors working together to put this book together, The Power of We. So it is a good time that each one of us to show our audience our existing books and say a little bit about it. And then we are going to take Q&A from the audience. Vickie, you want to start first? I know you wrote at least 10 books, but show us some of your favorite ones.
Oh, some of my books. Okay, so this was the 10th book. This book I wrote in 4 days, launched in the next week to bestseller. And it's a book about writing a book, and Easy Writer is actually my signature program where I coach people soup to nuts from first word to, you know, picking your topic, your title and all that stuff through writing your whole book, getting it published on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, you know, Scribd, all of those things, Apple iBooks and stuff, all the way through launching and all the marketing and stuff like that to get them to bestseller. And then I also give them a book funnel swipe file so that they can consistently get clients with the book as that goes. This one is actually one of the anthologies that I put together. I think this was the second or third. I put together 4. I lost track of what order it was. So this was the second in a series. So these were Courageous World Catalyst. I have a 1, and then this one was number 2. So the covers are kind of the same. One's green, one's blue. And then I have some other books that one is on some of my Lyme disease topics, you know, detox, EFT, some of the alternative modalities that I used, herbs and stuff. My second health and wellness book was about herbs. So when I got my Master Herbalist certification, we were supposed to profile different herbs, like our favorite ones. And as I went through that, I thought, you know what, might as well just keep going, write a few more of these. So that one was purely informational. It's like a reference book. It's not very big at all. It's like this thick, but it had my favorite herbs in it that I used for Lyme and some other things that people ask about often. And that one, that was the second book. And then I have ones on law of attraction, about finding your why. So that was kind of a little bit more business book. And then I have 2 about writing books. And then I have the 4 anthologies. I think that might be all. I don't know.
Well, Vickie, you are donating 2 of your books.
Yes, these
to be auctioned. So those are the 2 books. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And then Seema and Reenu want to share your book and your chapter. And Seema, you are also donating your book as an auction item.
Yeah, Marsha, it's going to be my first book that I'm donating. It's called The Authorities. And my chapter in here is Break Free from the Pain Cycle, where I share about my journey of recovery from the autoimmune diseases and also give steps on what you can do for prevention if anyone's in there. Or, you know, when we don't take care of ourselves consistently on a regular basis, it leads you to some kind of chronic issue. So I give advice on how to overcome that and how to prevent those. And then my second book, which was just launched on June 17th, Break Free to Stand in Your Power, which is a #1 international bestseller. And my chapter is about the only thing that matters is you, what you believe. Because so many times we take on other people's beliefs and make it our own and live by that. So my intention with that chapter in this book is to let you know that it's okay for you to have your own beliefs, and that's all that matters, and you lead with that and your instinct. So I am catching up to Vickie with my other 3 books. That'll make a total of 5. They're all releasing next year, one in each quarter.
And I'm actually happy to be one of the chapter author in your next book, the one on humanity and peace and love.
I'm so excited that you're a co-author in that, Break Free to Peace, Love, and Unity. I can't wait to read your chapter.
Well, I mean, with your encouragement and then Vickie's and other co-authors, it's just the synergy is there. Sometimes we cannot write on our own. We just need that support and mentorship. So talking about my 3 books, I have my first book as in The Power of Feng Shui for Builders. And actually, my 3 books will be part of the auction items. I hope the audience will go there and place bids. Right now, there's bids on it already, but overbid the first, the other one. So the second book is on the power of Feng Shui for your life. And the third one is on the power of Feng Shui for green living. So I find myself, as I get more and more, I would say mature, and easing into writing more and more. And it seems like every time when I finish something, and then the door is opened up for another one. So in Seema's anthology in humanity and peace and love, I will be writing the power of Jinsamei, which is truth, goodness, and beauty. And that will be something that I'm going to write from my heart. It's not quite informational. So I think, oh, Seema, for a special treat, I know you, I take your meditation class every morning. Would you like, for our audience, you also do a short meditation for all of us? This is a special treat.
Okay, sure. I'd be happy to do that. Okay, so if you're wearing glasses, it would be a good time to take it off and then participate in the meditation. We'll do a quick one. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Take a few deep breaths down to your belly and then exhale. Just let everything out, any stress, frustration, see if you have any tightness in any part of your body, and just take a deep breath, focus on that area and let go and see if that is moving anywhere. Take another deep breath all the way down to your belly and exhale. Now I want you to bring your awareness to your heart and think of a happy moment that you had experienced in any time of your life. And think of it, experience it as if you had experienced it that very first time. Now bring your awareness to your top of your head, your crown chakra. Now think of a second happy moment and experience it like you had experienced it the very first time. Taking a few deep breaths. And now see if you have any tension in any part of your body, and just breathe in to that. And when you're comfortable, you can open your eyes when you're ready. That was a quick one. It's part of the loving kindness meditation that I do. That was just a quick way of just centering and bringing back to your heart and to raise your, so if you're stressed, if you're feeling frustrated, it's just to raise your vibration level and raise your level of joy so you can feel more at peace and open up your heart. So you can, you know, when you open up your heart, you listen better, you listen to other people better, you listen to yourself better, and you just exude peace, love, and unity.
Thank you. I actually find this morning meditation, even 15, 20 minutes is so useful. It just calm me down, start the day with clarity and with focus. Seema, perhaps one day soon you're going to write a full book on meditation, on loving kindness method that you conduct every morning.
Definitely, and we have a challenge going on right now called the Break Free Meditation Challenge, and then that's going to lead into the Meditation Mastermind towards the end of the year, so people can really experience that. And you've been such a you've been with me since the very beginning. You know, almost what, 4 or 5 months. It's a recent service that I started. Also, you know, listening to my heart and meditating, and I was guided to start this, and it's just been a wonderful experience having you part of that and having all the group members there.
Yeah, I wish everybody can join us. We are open up for Q&A. Should we, since it's a forum, should we unmute everybody and they could ask questions instead of typing on the chat? Or Vickie, do you see any questions that you would like to answer? Or Seema?
I just see a message from Marissa Martinez. She said, I enjoyed that. Thank you, the meditation too. So while we're looking for the answers, maybe Marsha, Reenu can talk about her book that she's auctioning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think we have to mute our audience because there's background noise. Reenu, would you like to?
Yeah. So my book, I was very fortunate to be part of Seema's anthology. My book, the chapter is called Financial Independence for Women. And my goal with this chapter was, if there's anybody, any woman out there who says that they don't understand finances, or they say finances is difficult, I highly encourage you to read that chapter. And because I have tried to break it out into very simple steps that people can follow to make sure that their finances are in place. What is it that they need to look for, and how they need to make sure that everything is in place for whether it's tax savings or for retirement, or how to create intergenerational wealth. I've made it very, very simple so that women can all understand it. So that was the goal of it. So I highly encourage you to read that and understand it. And Marsha, I will be donating my book also for the auction.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you, and well, actually all of us donating auction items to support this conference. And I'm thankful for CLUSA and also AAUC. These two organizations put us together and give us the opportunity to speak and opportunity to express ourselves and our message and share our journey with all of you. So one of the question will be as a closing remark. What's next? What's the future that you see for yourself? What we can see right now is the world is quite diverse. It's very you know, some people would think it's chaotic, and there's a lot of things going on politically and in social, and there's social unrest. But on the other hand, people are expressing themselves, and as authors, we like to look at different angles, and not just one way of looking at things. So if we are using the themes from this conference, where we can connect everybody regardless of differences, and together we have the message of the power of we together, and expressing our passion for others. What is the future for us being Asian American women authors?
I really think that it's up to us to decide and be committed to having our voices heard. I think, you know, growing up, my mom always said she felt like a second citizen. And so she raised me and my sister to be as important and be as educated as the boys are. There are no boys in my family. So it's just us girls. And as we know, sometimes the boys are seen a little bit, you know, higher regard for things, especially the oldest. And I think that those times have really started to change and go in the right direction, where we do have a way to have a bigger voice. You know, forums like this, Zoom just in general, online conferencing, you know, as much as there have been, you know, things that had to change because of COVID, I think that it has brought people together as well, because we have a mission now, you know, and I think as Asian women, the only way that we are going to have our voices heard, and especially in the arts area, is to be more bold and to, you know, I love seeing Asians in movies, loved Crazy Rich Asians, love seeing Asians in movies, but we tend to have the same nerdy role all the time, right? And I wanted to go to art school. My mom said, no way, you're going to be a starving artist, you can't do that. So I went instead and got a actuarial math degree from the University of Michigan. Total opposite of that. But, you know, it's funny because none of my family would have guessed that I would end up doing what I do now with books and coaching and storytelling and marketing and all of that stuff. But if I look back in life, I read the whole library because my mom said, if you weren't studying, that you were wasting your time. So books, even though they were fiction books and she called them junk books, were better than going out and wasting time running around the streets doing whatever, playing ball. You know, and then I was editor of everything imaginable in high school. Like, those people who knew me back then don't see it as a surprise, but the people who knew me afterwards knew that I was in such a techie field. I was in computers, and then I was a statistician at a bank, and I was in finances. And so, like, they go, wait, that's really strange, but it has really served me in my business, having both sides of those things. And I think that a lot of times we don't give ourselves enough credits. We get stuck in a particular role, kind of like Reenu said, and then we limit ourselves with what we can do, the voices that we can share, the stories that we can impact others with. So as much as we might go, oh, you know, there's not enough representation, we are also not speaking up enough and not being bold enough. And we're allowing whatever confines to be there to keep being our confines, instead of constantly pushing that further and further out. And I think that's what we need to do.
Mm-hmm. So well said. But you know, Vickie, I think that in this country we are limited to certain kind of topics that we write. You know, like informational, how to, and then especially pertaining to Eastern culture that people want to know. Do you see? But in the Asian countries, everybody, all the authors, male, female, they write all kinds of stories, all kinds of topics. Do you see ourselves here in America that we can? It's just like the entertainment industry. Do we see ourselves expand our expertise, our contribution?
Well, if you don't, I think we should. You know, I really do appreciate that my mom, funny again with the book thing, she always said, if you can read, that was like one of the best, most important skills you could have, because then you could do anything and be anything that you wanted. You know, so she always encouraged us with whatever our gifts were. And I think that we need to just start doing the things that we wish we were doing and stop wishing that we were doing them. Because there's no reason that any one of us here can't be or do or have or whatever you want to call it, anything that our heart desires. It's just that we sometimes have to break out of the mold that we were given or that we were taught. You know, some of these rules that we had growing up, they don't really exist except that they were some random rule that came to be. I know the story of the Christmas ham. There was a person who, she always cut the ends of her ham before she stuck it in the oven. And one day she said, "Grandma, why do we cut the ends off of the ham to stick it in the oven?" She thought there was a reason. It must have tasted better. That's how you cooked it. And Grandma said, "Because my oven was too small and the ham was always too big, so I cut the ends off." So that just became a rule or a habit for that whole family that just got passed down the generations, and they cut the ends of the ham off for no reason because their oven fit the ham just fine now. And I think that's the same with us. At one time, our little box was like this, and we were cutting certain parts of ourselves off, and now the box is a lot bigger, and we need to stop doing that.
That is so great. There's a message that we all learn something. Our transformation, our evolvement. We don't have to be limited to what's in the past. We can always create something in the future, as in the power of we. So thank you, Vickie. How about you, Reenu? What's your future?
My future, I'm still not done conveying my message to the women. So I have a lot more women I need to touch, whose lives I need to change. I need to get the message across. And I strongly believe that we women are capable of so many things. And as women and as Asian women, I think we need to come out and tell our stories. Like Seema said, all of us have a story, whether it's big or small. Don't be afraid to speak out about your stories, because they will truly influence and touch somebody else's lives. And that is, we have been put on this earth for a purpose. And if that is a purpose that's calling you, you need to make sure you come out and say your story and inspire somebody else. So that's what I'm hoping to, that I will be able to touch a lot more lives. Now I say women, but I want to touch their families' lives. And so that they will be able to take care of their families and their generations to come.
Yeah, that's so great, because we don't need to be anybody else except our authentic self.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And Seema, how about you as an Asian American author? I know you have a lot of things going on. So tell us about the future that you are creating for yourself.
Marsha, I'm going to continue helping women really have a journey to their true self and be able to do all the things that they want from that point on. And you know, you mentioned earlier that we are in this country, there's not so much we can do, there's not that much opportunity, but I really believe it's all about the beliefs and the story that we're telling ourselves, the generational stories we're telling ourselves in our mind, because those stories do get passed on from generation to generation. It's just about taking small steps, you know. First, it starts with honoring yourself and doing things that matter to you, having that courage. Growing up, my parents told me what to do. They told me what to study. They told me what to wear. They told me what I liked. I didn't even know who I was. When people would ask me, what is it that you like? I'm like, oh, I don't know, you know, when I had a chance to think about it on my own. So it's taking those steps. If you like wearing red clothes and your husband says, no, don't wear red, start with wearing red, you know, empower yourself that way. And so it starts with that, and then starts speaking up for yourself within your family, and then start going out. You don't go from not being able to have a voice within yourself to going and writing a book. It's a whole process. You know, we went through that journey as a process. Some people are ready, some people aren't. But when you start with that, you're making a difference. And when you have family and children, you know, children learn the most by your actions, not by your words. So here you have a chance of making a difference, leaving a legacy. People think leaving a legacy is only after you're dead and gone. You create that now. So I want to help people create their living legacies and passing that on and being around to enjoy it, to see the fruits of their labor and publishing more books.
That's a great vision. And as our common thread is, in the past, in this country, we are more or less like victims. We are being bullied, or we felt we are being mistreated, and there's discrimination, there's all kinds of prejudice against us. But I think the more we speak out, the more messages we have, that is beneficial to everyone. And they can connect with us, they see our stories. I would say we could really connect, and we can really work together. We can really, as a whole, and it is exactly what this conference is about, the power of we together, regardless of the diversity, but with a common theme of the future that we envision it to be. Our future, API future, and the future of the country, and the future of the world will be so bright. So thank you, all of you. Before we leave, and with our audience, let's take a group picture. And please show your, I would like to say, show your face. So everybody, and Christine, yesterday you didn't show your face. Today I love to see you. So everybody,
Marsha, after the picture, I wanted to share a quote.
Oh yes, thank you. And Seema, what is your quote?
So my quote is, "The moment a woman decides to be unafraid, she is transformed. When she recognizes the power and possibilities of her own strength and surrenders every fear to that power, she becomes the greatest version of herself." This is by Diane von Furstenberg. So once you just take that step of not being afraid, you've already done the major part of work.
Yeah, it's a great start. And then, Seema, I think you have a couple of meetup for participants in this conference to meet with you.
Yeah.
Can you
Tomorrow, and the link is in the meetup thing, and I can send it again. I'm having a "Are You the Next Bestseller" Q&A. So any questions you had around writing a chapter, or writing a book, or having any questions from any angle of writing, I'll be answering that tomorrow. So I would love to have all of you join me there and participate in that. It's going to be like this through Zoom.
Oh, that's so great.
It's going to be at 11 o'clock.
11 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow through Zoom. And did you post it on Hoover?
It's on Hoover under Meetups, yes.
Under Meetup. Okay, so everybody, let's show our face and let's take a picture together. And who's taking this? I think Julie, are you going to take the picture? Yes.
I don't know, because I'm on the website and I cannot find the gallery view button.
Oh,
I can do it.
Oh,
Does everyone want to show their video?
say cheers.
Okay, it didn't work.
I got one.
Did you? Okay.
You got one?
Yep, I got one.
Yeah. Could you post it on photo in Hoover?
I'll see if I can get there. You know, and as well, I hope you don't mind if I just share with everybody that I have a Facebook group that's completely dedicated to writing books and the topic. So if you want to be part of that, I can throw the link in the chat. It's called Write Your Biz Book. And inside it, there's free challenges that I've done. So there's training that's already there in the units. There's like 1-minute tips from Vickie, and I do other master classes and stuff like that too. So
in the chat box, and then also in Hoover, you can post it so all the participants can see it.
okay.
Yay! Thank you. And we are so good. It's 5:27. So thank you, everyone. We'll see each other in another event, and hopefully to Seema's meetup. And Vickie, you could set up meetup anytime.
Okay.
Okay. So
Thank you. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Marsha, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Marsha.
thank you all panel speakers. Thank you all participants.